So I didn't notice this until the top of the third inning, and I really wish I never noticed it. I really wish it would have just gone over my head, but I didn't realize that in between pretty much every single pitch at Yankee Stadium, there is some type of music or sound effect that is played throughout their blaring sound system, and I don't enjoy it. I legitimately do not enjoy it. It was causing me a headache to the point where I had to throw on some headphones and listen to music just to tune it out. It was very Gen Z coded. Someone tweeted it where it's kind of like those really Gen Z brain rot videos where there's like an interview playing on one half of the screen and then Family Guy or Subway Surfers in the bottom half of the screen. We don't need music after every single pitch that's thrown. We can, in the year 2025, we can do without the constant stimulation. If anything, we should be trying to cut back on the amount of stimulation that we have, but I digress. The Giants lose today 8-4 in the second game of this 3-game series, and as you can tell by the attire that I'm wearing, as you can tell by the weather right there, it is still very cold. A little wet, nothing compared to what we saw yesterday. If you didn't read the story yesterday, Robbie Ray called it one of the worst environments he's ever pitched in. Jung-Hoo Lee said they would have never started that game in the KBO. It wasn't quite as bad as yesterday, at least as far as rain goes. As far as temperature, it was a couple degrees lower. At first pitch, it was 41 degrees. I can't remember what it was yesterday, but it was noticeably colder in the press box as well. I felt like every time I talked, you could visibly see my breath, which when you're working with an open air press box, that's not exactly what you want. Diving into the specifics of the game itself, Jordan Hicks allowed a career worst 7 earned runs over 4+ innings. The first 4 innings of his outing were pretty fine for the most part. He did allow 2 earned runs in the bottom of the first inning on Cody Bellinger's RBI triple that was on a very high fly ball that was kind of, given the weather, given some of the wind, that was made for a very difficult ball for Elliot Ramos to try to catch. And then Paul Goldschmidt followed up with a sacrifice fly. Pitched a scoreless second, third, and fourth inning, but the fifth inning is where the wheels fell off. He faced 5 batters. He didn't retire any of them. It went single, 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 double, walk after the walk. Manager Bob Melvin pulled Hicks in favor of Randy Rodriguez, who inherited bases loaded, none outs, and he allowed all 3 of those runners to score. He himself pitched a scoreless inning, but all 3 of those runs got attributed to Hicks, who, as I mentioned, ended up with a career worst 7 earned runs, and I believe his ERA is bordering on 6. Did experience a bit of a velocity dip, but on a day like today, that's to be expected. He said that in the 5th inning in particular, when he went out for that inning, his body felt fine, but it tightened as that inning went along. And as far as the velocity, he doesn't have any concerns, and said that if it was an 80-degree day or just in general, velocity is not going to run as hot compared to an 80-degree day. So I personally have no concerns about it as well. It's cold. It's really hard to throw a baseball in these conditions. If we get back to, I guess his next start would fall during Anaheim. If we get to Anaheim and the velocity is still down, then we can have more of a nuanced conversation there. But as far as today, you kind of just throw velocity out the window, and he's not the only one that's experienced a bit of a velocity dip either. On the positive side of things, Wilmer Flores hit his 6th homer of the year. That ties him with, let me see if I can remember this, Aaron Judge, Mike Trout, Tyler Soderstrom, Tommy Edmond, and I think Kyle Schwarber. I think those are the 5. Ties them for the most home runs in all of baseball. He drove in all 4 of the Giants' runs today. It is his second 4 RBI game of the season. And we've talked about Wilmer a couple times over the course of this season so far. He only hit 4 homers all of last year across 71 games, was constantly battling with the right knee issue until they finally shut him down for the season with the 10X procedure in late August. But through 14 games so far, he's been the Giants' most productive hitter, and that's especially saying something considering how well Jung-Hoo Lee is swinging the bat. He reached base twice today. He's reached base in all but 1 of, I think, 12 of the 13 games that he's played so far. And I know it's early, and I'm not entirely sure who the candidates might be, but if you're looking at somebody as far as comeback player of the year, I feel like Wilmer would probably be, at this juncture, a pretty deserving candidate. Last year was the worst season of his career. Again, he was compromised due to the right knee injury, was just never himself. And the Giants constantly talked over the course of the offseason about what Wilmer could be when fully healthy, getting back to that 2023 version of himself. And so far, 14 games into the season, that's what we've seen.